based on you, and we will subpoena your witnesses for you. And keep in mind, even at the trial, you still have the right to remain silent. In addition to the right to remain silent and the right to a trial, you have a right to an attorney, which is why there's always a delay before I come out. We want to make sure that everyone who needs to speak with the defense attorney, Mr. Humphrey, here has had that opportunity. If you have not, we'll give you a chance to speak with him. Or if you would like to hire your own attorney, let me know, and I'll give you a chance to come back with your own attorney. If you're going to resolve a case today, there are 4 types of pleas you can enter. The first one is not guilty. That resets it for another hearing or a trial. You can also enter a plea of guilty where you are admitting what you're accused of, and if you do that, I could sentence you today. A sentence in municipal court ranges from $0 to $1,000, 0 days in jail, up to 6 months in jail. That's the jurisdiction of this court. Anything above that is a felony, and I will address those shortly. There's also a plea of no contest and guilty. The difference between no contest and guilty, you're guilty, it means I sentence. No contest is where you are not saying with your own words that you're guilty, but you're not contesting the allegations against you. That means if I find you guilty, the plea cannot be used against you in a later proceeding. And then there's a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. If you choose that particular plea, I'd have to stop these proceedings to see where you are and your ability to go forward. But keep in mind that plea is not available for your traffic cases. Speaking of your traffic cases, if you're going to resolve a traffic case and if you get points, the BMV will be notified of your points. If you accumulate 12 or more points in your license will be suspended, and driving under a 12-point suspension is a jailable offense. So it's important to know where you are in regard to your points. So you have insurance to drive. So if you resolve your case and ticket or insurance, the BMV will license. But what I normally do is give you up to 72 hours to come back with insurance. You show it to our clerk's office, we will update your file. You also have 72 hours to take care of your fines and costs. And what that basically means is if you cannot handle your fines and costs today, within 72 hours, you can come back up and request a payment plan. What I do require, though, is that you make a down payment of at least $25. That's why I give you 72 hours, because maybe you don't have any money today to do that. So within 72 hours, come on up, make the down payment, and we will extend your balance out so you can pay it over time. If you are here for a felony, you have a right to an attorney, you have a right to know the charges against you, and you have a right to what's called a probable cause or preliminary hearing. Do we have any felonies? That's good. All right. That hearing is for the purpose of the court to understand through testimony that a felony was committed in this city and that you are being charged with it and why. It does not mean that you are guilty at all. It just means they're establishing that this is a misdemeanor court and that your case should be at the felony court. You can have that hearing or you can waive the hearing. If you waive the hearing, that's basically saying that you're allowing the case to be sent downtown, but you are still not guilty as you sit here today and as you arrive downtown. I will set a court date for you, which will be Monday, 12th floor of the Justice Center at 9:45, and we will set a bond. All right, if there are any additional questions, I'll answer them as they come up, and you can still speak with the attorneys. Thank you. (21 CRA 00267), the City of East Cleveland versus Ronnie Winston. Counsel for the record. Good afternoon. So these are charges. It looks like we have weapons under disability, a felony of the 3rd degree, where you're looking at the possibility of 9 to 36 months in prison and a $10,000 fine because you're stating that on March 15th, Mr. Winston did have a firearm on or about his person. The inability or disability is based on a previous felony conviction. Then there's possession of, it looks like just possession of drugs or cocaine specifically. I have here a felony of the 1st degree. A felony of the 1st degree, you're looking at 3 to 11 years in prison and a minimum fine of $15,000. It's stating that on or about the 15th day of March, you were in possession of suspected crack cocaine in an amount that exceeds 27 grams in a particular residence. They also charge F1 trafficking of drugs, same 3 to 11 years possibility, stating that this occurred on or about March 15th in or around a school zone. They have a felony of the 3rd degree, tampering with evidence. Again, that's 9 to 36 months and a $10,000 fine because they're stating that on or about March 15th, there was an action that was in purpose to impair the availability of evidence during the investigation. And then the possession of criminal tools on March 15th, alleging that the cell phone, as well as cutting agent, glass bong, and U.S. currency was used for criminal purposes, a felony of the 5th degree, 6 to 12 months, and a $25,000 $100 fine. Counsel, in regard to the preliminary hearing, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, I've advised my client of his constitutional right to a preliminary hearing. He would like to waive that right and have his matter proceed.
Okay. So, Mr. Winston, as your counsel mentioned to you, I'm sure, and as I mentioned, you're not admitting guilt. You're still not guilty. This case is just being sent to the county, the appropriate court for these types of charges. Detective, on the issue of bond.
Your Honor, on the issue of bond, Detective Bureau is requesting a $200,000 surety bond due to the nature of this case of the test and distribution of crack cocaine amongst the city to multiple people, including people from the terrace towers across the street, the 3 buildings. Your Honor, we have individuals ranging from 30 years old to 70 years old, older people in walkers and wheelchairs going over to the residence to purchase crack cocaine.
Okay.
That's the reason why the bond is requested.
All right. Counsel, your response to the bond request at this time?
Thank you, Your Honor. We'd ask for something a little bit lesser and more reasonable than that. My client is a resident of East Cleveland, as the detective has indicated. All of his family, including his daughter and his brother, live in the area. He is not a flight risk. He has retained counsel, so we will ensure his appearance the next day to the peace proceedings. Thank you.
Okay. And counsel, just noting for the record, as everyone knows, that the purpose of bond is to make sure that Mr. Winston appears at court. It's not to necessarily penalize you prior to any conviction at this time. I see that there may be some other issues going on, possible aggravated burglary, but not convicted of it at that time. And then it looks like there may be 2 misdemeanor convictions prior. All that to be being said, Mr. Winston, what I am going to do is I am going to lower your bond, but keep in mind, once you get downtown, that judge has the ability to raise your bond or make it even lower based on the conditions downtown, whether it's overcrowding in the jails or COVID-19, all those things are in consideration. So, Ms. Winston, counsel, what I'll do, Mr. Winston, what I'll do based on counsel's request is I'm going to go ahead and cut the bond in half. They're requesting a $200,000 bond. I'm going to set it at half of that, $100,000. Hopefully that'll help you get out of jail. And again, if not, as soon as you're sent downtown, I know your counsel is going to petition to that judge for a lower bond. And that judge is going to have your case from the beginning to the end. So they'll be able to do that. Any questions, Mr. Winston? Counsel, any other matters?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too.
Javion Simmons. Mr. Simmons, 21 CRA 00269 is improper transportation of a firearm. Is that you, sir? Come on up to the microphone. And possession of criminal tools. Maybe Simmons, I put the other thing right there. Yeah, plastic. Oh, sorry. That's okay. All right, possession of criminal tools, a felony of the 5th degree, where you're looking at the possibility of 6 to 12 months and a $2,500 fine. Because they're saying that on March 15th, you did have cell phones, pre-packed baggies of marijuana, and a box of clear baggies, as well as a scale. In addition to that felony of the 5th degree, they're charging you with a felony of the 4th degree, improper transportation of a firearm in a motor vehicle. The felony of the 4th degree carries 6 to 18 months and a $5,000 fine, because they're saying that you did have on or about your person a loaded HKVP 40 within a black backpack inside a motor vehicle, and this happened on or about March 15th. Counsel, on behalf of Mr. Simmons, in regard to the preliminary hearing.
After talking to Mr. Simmons at this time, he's going to maintain not guilty, waive the preliminary hearing, and would request to be heard on bond.
All right. Mr. Simmons, again, I'm going to set your court date for Monday, 12th floor of the Justice Center at 9:45. Detective, on the issue of bond.
Detective Bureau is requesting a $50,000 surety bond, Your Honor.
Okay. Counsel, I know you want to be heard again.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, similar to the case you heard this morning, although that one had a weapons under disability, I believe that bond ended up at $10,000, 10%. Mr. Simmons has no prior felony criminal history, which is why we don't see a weapons under disability on there, Your Honor. He's currently being charged by the city with an F4, improperly handling a firearm in a motor vehicle, and a felony 5, possessing criminal tools, both non-violent felonies. And as I previously argued before the court, there was recently an article in Cleveland.com quoting Judge Sheehan downtown, talking about how the presumption of any non-violent felony 3, felony 4, and felony 5 is a personal bond. I understand this court's policy regarding personal bonds and this court's intent to get the cases from here to the county. But taking all of that into consideration, we'd ask for a 10,000, 10% bond. I think that's appropriate. Felony 4, felony 5, non-violent with no prior felony criminal history of that.
All right. And counsel and detective, what I'm going to do also is I'm going to attempt to stay consistent throughout the day at least. I mean, these days change a little bit based on what I see. But this morning I did set a bond of 10,000, 10% on this type of case. And it was a little different circumstances where there was a disability. But you're 22 years old, correct? So at this point, you don't have a disability, but I don't know if you heard what I said about that. First of all, you're not guilty. So this is just man to man. If you are convicted at all of a felony, make sure you don't carry a gun, because what's happening to so many people is that they're getting pulled over because they run a stop sign or do something crazy like that or simple. And then they end up doing 3 years or, 36 months in prison because they have a gun on them. So I just want to give you that advice. All right. But right now we'll go ahead and set it at the 10,000, 10% or surety. Your court date will be Monday, 12th floor of the Justice Center at 9:45. All right. Good luck, sir. You can have a seat. All right. 21 CRB 00232, Raymond Brenham, disorderly conduct, March 2nd. This particular case alleged that you did knowingly cause a disturbance by yelling profanities in the city of East Cleveland. It looks like there was an argument over $40. Madam Prosecutor, how are we resolving the case today?
I'm sorry. Is this all the containers, Mr. Clark?
No, this is a disorderly conduct. It looks like you have a signature with Counsel Humphrey for dismissal at court cost only. Is that your understanding for this
Was
case?
this Burnham or Barron?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yes.
All right.
This was really weird.
So you understand what they're suggesting is that we dismiss the underlying charge, but it's just court costs that you would pay. You understand that?
Yes.
And you agree to that? Dismissal at court costs only?
Here?
Yeah, so basically what happens is you were facing disorderly conduct. That could have been a $1,000 fine, 6 months in jail. What they worked out for you is that the city dismissed the charge, but you only pay court costs. So it's not a fine. You don't have a conviction on your record. You just pay the court costs and the case is over.
Yes.
You want to handle it that way?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I will accept that. It'll be dismissed at court cost only. You just go to the clerk's office, the first window on your left, they'll tell you what the court costs are. And if you need time to pay that, I can give you time to pay it. Yes, sir.
I had a stroke, so my talk isn't perfect.
Okay.
But they told me that I had to move out of this motel where I'm staying at this time, and I'm looking for another place for an apartment. So I've already got my papers to talk with these two possible apartments. It's probably is going to take me 1 or 2 before I can get myself together to get me for another apartment.
Okay.
This happened in 2000. It was 2000 September 2020.
Okay. Right.
2019. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But that's so I've been sleeping in the winter because when they threw my apartment at Indian Hills apartment.
Okay.
And my family, the twins, they're 10 years older than me. They called the manager at Indian Hills apartment and told me I had a long history of molesting children. And that was a lie. So I did have an attorney, Dr. Dumas.
Okay.
Doctor. Attorney Dumas. He's on Superior and 9th Street, but for the attorney I'm talking right now.
Okay.
But I'm a little looking for another apartment.
All right. So you need that means you may need extra time to take care of your court
Yes,
costs,
sir,
right?
please.
All right. That's fine. Once you go outside the door, the clerk's window, the gentleman at the back door, Bailiff Warford, is going to have more information for you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. You take care. Be blessed.
So who should I talk to?
You'll see that gentleman at the door,
Thank you,
but
sir.
but wait out the hallway until he comes out to talk with you. Okay.
Wait here?
You're right out in the hallway.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Jason White. Jason White, 21 CRB 00270, possession of marijuana. And it looks like this is being dismissed at court cost only. Is that your understanding? All right, I will accept that agreement that you have with the city. You can just go out to the clerk's window, okay? Take care. Melvin Clark, 21 CRB 00230. This is an open container charge. That's normally a first-degree misdemeanor, which means you could get up to a $1,000 fine and 6 months in jail. Oh, really?
Yeah, that must be.
Okay.
You want to go and bring him in?
You're right there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Clark, come on up. All right.
That's all.
They're saying that you did have an open container on your possession, but the city is looking to dismiss this at court cost only. Is that your understanding?
I'm not talking about, but I can take that.
I'm sorry?
I didn't talk to no one about that.
Yeah, I have a signature here for you and then the prosecutor's signature.
I'm sorry.
All right. So you want to resolve it that way?
Yes.
All right, so it'll be-
I'm good for that charge.
So what she's doing though, she's just dismissing the charge and you'll just pay the court costs. All right. So she's giving you a break and the court is accepting that. All right. So you just go to the clerk's window. Take care, sir.
All right, thank you.
Amber Austin, 21 CRB 00261 from March 4th, alleging a disorderly conduct. And what they are alleging is that you did cause a disturbance while intoxicated, yelling offensive language at police and failing to follow orders when leaving a residence. And you're 32, correct?
Yes.
All right. Madam Prosecutor, you're looking to get this case resolved with a dismissal also?
Yes, she explained to me that she had been at her, I guess, boyfriend's house and they didn't have a meeting of the minds and he wanted her to leave. However, she had been drinking earlier in the evening and she was concerned. So I guess he called the police to have her put out. But she was concerned about leaving in her state.
Okay.
And she said she'd had a prior OBI in the past and she didn't want to get another one. So that's how they end up getting to this back and forth.
Okay.
So
So that's a great decision. I don't know how it ended up in a disorderly conduct. I mean, because you're on the right track.
because when they told me to leave, and I was like, well, I can leave in my car, and I've been drinking. Me and my boyfriend always go back and forth. And when I said, well, if I gotta leave, then give me your badge number, because if I get pulled over, I want to give them the badge number. Who told me it's okay to drive my car? And that's what like at that point, I said I was intoxicated and I was mad, and I started around.
Okay. All right.
And that's how
All right. So I'll go ahead and accept the dismissal at court cost. Just be careful going forward, okay?
yes.
Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ezekiel Smith. Mr. Smith. All right. Jordan Tucker. Mr. Tucker. All right. Mr. Tucker's not here. Leon Smith. Mr. Smith, I have a case from 2009, driving without a valid license, unsafe vehicle and display of license. And then I have a new case, 21 CRB 00135 from February 2nd. That is the alleged aggravated menacing. I let you out on a personal bond, and it looks like we're continuing this to get the victim here, correct?
Correct. That's correct, Your Honor. And it's also my understanding is he has the ability to get his license valid now. Was provided paperwork today from the court, so he's going to attempt to get his license released.
All right, so what I'm going to do, you got the paper, he has blocks released
He was handed some paperwork by.
to release your blocks, is that correct? So you're in good shape at this point, right? To get the license. So April 1st, Madam Prosecutor, is when we're going to, I'm sorry, April 15th at 9:30 is when we're coming back, and I'll keep both cases together. All right, I'll see you back then. Take care, sir. Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Sorry, Judge, for being late.
That's okay.
Emergency came up, and I had to sit in the office and readjust my attitude before I walked in here.
Appreciate that.
It was not good. Thank God for Miss Green, help talk me down.
Always good to have somebody in your corner to do that. John Blue, 20 CRB 00990 from December 2nd. We were here previously on a charge of assault, and are we resolving the case today?
Yes, we are, Your Honor. Mr. Ryan is here today, so I do thank the court for indulging us with that 1,000. So, my understanding that Mr. Blue is going to plead to the assault as charged.
Mr. Blue, have there been any threats or promises to get you to enter into a plea at this time? How do you plead? All right. Madam Prosecutor, you want to make a factual basis just since we're at least a little bit about the case?
As you recall, Mr. Ryan lives at a rooming house. And Mr. Blue's girlfriend lives there as well. And that's located at 1844 Farmington. When the police arrived, he said he had been assaulted by his roommate's boyfriend. And according to Mr. Ryan, he doesn't even know why this occurred. He said he got into an argument with Mr. Blue's girlfriend, and Mr. Blue came up and approached him again, punched him in the face a few times with a fist. He did have some injuries. These pictures are black and white. The defense has had an opportunity to see him.
Okay. Thank you. All right, based on that information, there will be a finding of guilt. Mr. Blue. So what I'm going to do in this particular case, first of all, Madam Prosecutor, would the gentleman, Mr. Ryan, like to say anything, or is he?
I believe he does.
Okay. So, Mr. Ryan, you can stay there. Just speak.
How you do, Your Honor?
Excellent.
Yeah, to this day, Your Honor, I have no idea what this man assaulted me. I'm in the kitchen, fixing my coffee, and he comes down the stairs. I've never seen him before, ever in this house, and that's why I found out that was my room, one of the roomies there, boyfriend. He just come out of blue and assaulted me, Your Honor, for no reason. To this day, I have no reason why he did that.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm provoked and everything. I mean, man, I know he's on drugs because I've seen the drug activity. I see the paraphernalia in the house, okay? And whether he's in a drug-induced psychosis, I don't know, Your Honor, but I was flabbergasted, and it cost me my eyeglasses, it cost me a day of work. And he keeps showing back up at the house and making any windows. I told him, and I know you put an order on him not to be at the house, and he still keeps coming there. She's letting him in, and he's sleeping there. And this guy is unpredictable, and why he did this to me, I have got no idea. But when he's there, I'm uncomfortable, and I'm just I'm overwhelmed at this situation, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So what I'm going to do, Ms. Ivory's not up here. Mr. Blue, what I'm going to do in this particular case is this. I'm going to accept the plea, and then I'm going to have you meet with my probation officer, Miss Ivory. She's not up here right now because I have several options. You know, I have up to a $1,000 fine. That's not something I'm really interested in. I'm more interested in peace and harmony in this community. So that leaves me with, as opposed to a fine, I could sentence you to jail for 6 months. I could put you on probation. I could, you know, figure out if there is a drug issue that we can put you in the drug court program. So I have many options. So what I'm going to do is do what's called a pre-sentence or pre-resolution evaluation so that you can speak with my probation officer. We can find out exactly what's going on, where you are, what's happening, why this occurred, and then I'm going to figure out what's the best way to get it resolved. You understand that? Any questions about that at all?
Do I get the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I don't know if you know my history or not, but I was just here in 2015.
And I don't. That's why I want you to talk with probation.
Murder case.
Okay.
It involved a knife and arguing.
Okay.
I hear the argument upstairs. I come down. He's standing there arguing with my girlfriend, and there's a knife next to him. And I just go off.
Okay. So even without him touching the knife, you lost it.
Because of the situation that I just fought to.
Okay.
I fought a man.
Hold on one second. That's okay.
All right. And that's why I did that.
All right. And I accept that, but you understand you can't do that.
Sorry that I did that.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't be here now if I was just left alone. But
All right.
that was done.
So you are sorry that you did that to him, correct? All right. All right. I appreciate that, Mr. Blue. So again, let me do it that way. Have a seat in the front seat there, front row. And when Miss Ivory comes back in, we're going to have you have a conversation with her. Okay. All right. What date? Let's get a date now. March 29th at 2:30. All right. So we're going to give that to Miss Ivory when she comes in. Yep. Mr. Ryan, if you're ready to go, you can. What's going to happen, he's going to meet with my probation department. Matter of fact, I see her coming down the hallway. and then we're going to figure out what's the best way to be resolved. Now, if you want to stay in touch with the prosecutor, you can do that to find out what ultimately happens. All right. But one thing for sure, while I have both of you here, based on what Mr. Blue just said, and I'm just articulating what he said. Based on his previous trauma, what he'd been through, he just figured he needed to defend her. That's not right, but that's what he said is the reason. And all I want both of you to understand is that if at any point the two of you have any interaction at this point, and it gets to the point where it's violent, regardless of what happens on this case, it's going to be 6 months in jail at least. Because the key is, I understand things happen, but now that you know that that was a trigger, it can't happen again, because there can't be innocent victims. You know what I mean? Even if a person is arguing, that doesn't give you a right to put your hands on them. But I understand you're saying some other trauma caused that. But when you then traumatize somebody else, you're creating new victims. You know what I'm saying? So we can't do that. So regardless of how this gets resolved when we talk with Miss Ivory, because I have the two of you here, it's totally unacceptable. And the very next time we're looking at the maximum jail time between either one of you, okay? So you understand that. No violence at all, because everybody has the right to live their life peacefully and without being assaulted, all right? So Mr. Ryan, if you want to have contact with the prosecutor going forward, you can, all right? And I think she has your information, so you're free to go if you're ready to go. All right, take care. Edith Butler. So Ms. Butler, I have here what's called a Rule 4 hearing. That technically means that another court has indicated to the city of East Cleveland that they want you. My obligations are to make sure you understand that there's a demand for your surrender. It's coming out of the Common Pleas Court of Logan County. They're saying that the charges are aggravated possession of drugs and petty theft. You do have a right to an attorney. I believe you've spoken with Mr. Humphrey. And then you have a right to have a full hearing where you are refusing extradition, saying that you want Logan County to appear in Cuyahoga County and indicate to the judge or a presiding officer why they want you and why it's proper. What happens is, if you want that hearing, which you have a right to, you would be transferred to another jail facility where they have a reasonable period of time to come and have that hearing. We don't know what reasonable is. That could be 10 days, that could be 30 days. Or you can state, I'm not fighting the extradition. Thereby, I'm saying, Logan County, come get me now. And what East Cleveland does is we hold you only for the maximum, depending upon how long you've been here, 12 days at the most. Or sometimes they let you go a little bit sooner. Was this, you said 7? It's been 7 historically? Well,
7 days is what they have. I think it's at the bottom.
And what I mean by 12 is this is a 12-day facility. But it looks like, based on the way that they handle Rule 4s, it would be 7 days maximum that they would hold you. Now, if Logan County does not come get you when you tell them that they can, this doesn't go away. That means if you're stopped in East Cleveland again, if you're stopped in Cleveland, if you're stopped in Cleveland Heights, you will continue to be arrested, because this still exists. There's a capias, there's a warrant for your arrest. So you'll keep going through this until at some point you make yourself available to Logan County to get this issue resolved. You understand all of that?
The only thing I didn't understand, like, I was under pressure to have things from the house. They're calling Logan County and they were saying they weren't coming to get me. Do I have to sit here in East Cleveland for 7 days? Or if they confirm that they're not coming to get me, will I be?
Well, yeah. What normally happens, if you say in this court right now that you are allowing Logan County to come and get you, and then I sign off on that and the police are made aware and they make another call to Logan County, and if Logan County tells them they're not coming to get you, well, they're going to let you go, because they're not going to hold you downstairs, because there's no reason to at this point. So, counsel, based on all that information, on behalf of Ms. Butler, are we waiving extradition at this time?
Your Honor, after talking to Ms. Butler, she's going to waive her hearing, subject herself to extradition. We would like the court to note that she was arrested yesterday on the 17th, which would give Logan County at the maximum until the 24th to pick her up before she had to be released by East Cleveland.
Okay, that will be noted. And keep in mind, just as we said, if they make a call today and they're saying they're not going to get you, you'll be released. But you got to figure out how to take care of this, because this is what's going to keep happening. You're going to get arrested by some city, sit in their jail until it keeps going back and forth.
Say something, Your Honor, and I'm not trying to.
Ms. Ivory.
For the last 2 years, I lost my dad and my mother. There's a lot going on. So, but I am going back to Logan County. I have grandkids.
Okay.
I wish to, it's just, I have a lot going on. The domestic violence thing, I've been stabbed in my face.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So I'm going through it right now, and I will be going back.
Was the domestic violence situation, was that here in Cuyahoga County?
Just last month, yes.
Okay, was that in East,
Yeah,
okay, was that in East Cleveland? No? In this city?
it's in Cleveland.
Okay, all right, so,
Philip.
all right, so definitely be careful in that regard and good luck in that regard. Did you get a protection order?
No, I haven't got that.
Okay, so you may want to work on that. Now, I will say, there are people in this courtroom right now who can just give you guidance on that. The prosecutor has information. We have Ms. Black, who's an expert. But to what we're dealing with, again, you waived it. You'll be released if they don't come get you. So deal with that. Figure out a way to get to Logan County so that you don't keep getting arrested. And of course, get yourself safe dealing with this domestic violence, because we know that is serious. And if you were stabbed, that's very serious. I mean, that's beyond, a minor situation. You want to get yourself safe. All right. And I will say this. I mean, there are different resources that Miss McCullough, Miss Black knows where you can go and be safe, so you don't have to go back to that home. All right. All right. You can have a seat, man. No, absolutely. So Miss Black is going to come give you her information. She's our expert on the domestic violence, and she will give you assistance. All right. Mr. Witt, is it artist? 20 CRB 01039. This is from December 11th of 2020. Assault on a police officer. We were set for trial today. Madam Prosecutor, how are we proceeding today?
The subpoenas went out rather late for my officers, and they're on night duty, so we're respectfully asking for one final continuance.
All right, so Mr. Radissa, basically what happens is the city is asking for a continuance. I know you probably spoke with the defense counsel. Mr. Humphrey, go ahead.
Your Honor, for the purposes of the record, I did discuss with Mr. Wirt that the court was likely to grant the city's continuance. For the record, we would be requesting a dismissal at this time for failure to prosecute.
All right. So your counsel is doing what he's supposed to do, which is asking for the case to be dismissed. A couple of things to keep in mind. One is I normally give continuances to each side if they need them. So for instance, if you came back next time and said, Judge, I have a witness that I need here, I need a continuance. Even if the officer's here, I'm going to give you that continuance because I want you to be able to defend yourself. The other thing to keep in mind is when the charges are serious like this, a lot of times the court will continue the case as long as it needs to get the case resolved. But I'll tell you, I don't do it forever. I don't keep letting these cases run out forever. So just keep that in mind. We will continue it to April 15th at 1:30. That's when you'll come back. All right. Any questions, sir? Bailiff?
Is this Mr. Bell?
No, this is Mr. Rick. Once we give you that reminder, we'll see you back on that date. Yep. Once you get that reminder in your hand. Now we have Mr. Bell's case. Is Mr. Bell present? Mr. Bell, come on up. 20 CRB 00856, domestic violence and aggravated menacing from October 4th. Okay, Mr. Bell, so I had to reset this for a little while out. Did you finish the work?
Yes, and it's about 40 to Maddie.
All right, so Miss Ivory, did you,
Arthur Bell, Your Honor?
yeah,
No, Your Honor, when I checked the sheet, Mr. Officer Meltley has just emailed me back, because I checked to see about the finished work. He said, no, he's just done the two sessions.
all right.
It's on my phone. Can I show you it? It's on my phone.
What exactly is on your phone? Tell me what's on your phone.
My email.
That you emailed?
Yeah, email it to him. Right here.
Can I ask, when did you email?
When did you email this?
I'm gonna say the date.
And who gave you this court date? Because I remember I pushed it out a little bit. Who told you to come back today?
You told me
I have here the 25th.
I am the 18th.
Okay, you have the 18th. Okay, I wrote 25th on my document. Okay, you have the 18th.
Yeah, you said next
Okay. I might have skipped it a couple days. So what's in your you claim you sent that to Mr. Medley?
Yeah. 1 second.
And what exactly did you send?
Alright,
How many assignments?
probably like 12, at least 12. Right there. Then you can see the ones that I poured.
Is he showing
So I have
us?
permission to manipulate your phone to take a look at this, right?
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Oh, that's right there. You and that. It's just one of them might have an internet.
So you know. So these are the ones you must have sent originally. They're all to
Yeah, that's one.
Ms. Powell.
Yeah,
So none of them are to Mr. Medley. Did you CC Mr. Medley on any of these?
you gotta go to so put it 6.
Oh, so I'm gonna tell you what I see for Mr. Medley. Oh, let me see. I see what you're saying.
42.
All right, let me see. So basically, let me go back on the record. 20 CRB 00852. So what I did in your particular case is I had you had spent 4 days in jail. We got your case resolved with you doing 12 finished first sessions. And at that particular time, I agreed that if you took the effort to do those sessions and got the knowledge and education out of that the case would be dismissed. I believe that was the agreement with the city and your attorney at the time. So for the record, I do see that he did the assignments. I do see that originally they were sent to Ms. Powell, and then I do see the forward to Mr. Medley. But however, what Mr. Medley may not have noticed, and I don't know how this looks on the computer, but on his phone, there is I guess it's an Android phone.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's not an iPhone. iPhones are great, but the Android phone has a line that says hidden text, and if you click that, like I clicked it on his phone, I saw all the information. So maybe when you I don't know how that translates on the email. I'm not sure if Mr. Medley saw that or if it's the same thing. You see what I'm saying? I was able to do it on your phone. You're right. I was able to verify that you sent it to him. You forwarded it to him, and I can see what you did. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get the case resolved at this point. 20 CRB 00852. I will go ahead with my original plan. The case will be dismissed. You understand?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, Your Honor, when I looked at the spreadsheet that Ms. Powell notes cases, assignments coming in, she had no new assignments coming in.
Okay. Yeah, they were all from. Yeah, they were all from December, January. No, they were a while back, and then he forwarded them. So he showed that he had completed them, and then he forwarded them. All right. So the case is dismissed. You're free to go. But let me ask you this before you go. Since you're my last case, what did you learn from any of the information or the videos or the assignments? You did them, but did you learn anything? Give me 3 takeaways from all that work you did. You got give me a file back.
I was just trying to complete it.
Well, then
I learned something.
let me give you a second. Hold on before you talk. Let me give you a second. You did a bunch of assignments. And how old are you? 22. I know you're an intelligent young man. I want you to give me 3 positives that you've gotten out of some of the information you did. Now, take a moment because I know you got them in you because you wrote some there. But just articulate it to me, just 3. You did a lot of assignments. I only want 3 positive things you got from all that. Okay, so what does that mean to you?
Learning yourself, though.
And how would that benefit you, learning yourself? What good will come out of that? Especially taking it back to why you were here. Or give me another one. I'm gonna work with you. Give me another one. Okay. All right. Okay. I know you've been doing it. I see that. All right. So self. we're gonna talk self-recognition, recognizing yourself. What else? Give me another one that you learned. Something else you picked up from all the stuff you did.
Trying to see though, like,
Okay. And what does that mean to you?
I mean, like, establishing some though, like, establishing something, like,
Okay. So
grow, shit.
planting the seed, growth. Give me one more, and I'm done. Planting the seed, so you establish what you want to grow, you know, what you want to accomplish. Planting the seed is almost like setting a goal, basically.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Give me one more.
I don't know though.
Come on.
I don't know.
One more. There's a difference between it's a $100 fine or $0 fine. One more. Oh no, I'm not gonna accept that. All right, see, that's easy for you. There's a difference between 5 days in jail and no jail time. Give me one more thing you learned. One more thing you learned. Think about it. Take your time. Don't rush it. You did all those assignments. I saw them. You answered those questions. Just real quick. What else did you learn from any of those videos you watched? And even if it's not from the videos, I mean, you could think about it. What's a positive thing you learned from the situation you was in? How will you avoid that situation again?
I just don't know to mess with you ever again though.
All right. So that's 3 things. One is, let me just break it down for you. So one is, be careful about the people you deal with, right? Because if you deal with the wrong person at the wrong time, in the wrong situation, you can end up in front of a judge, right?
Yeah.
Planting the seeds, that means set goals for yourself. At 22, if you set some goals, like if you know what you want to be, then you're going to move in that direction. And anything that can take you off that path, you're not going to do it. So if you know, let's say, for instance, you want to be a lawyer or you want to be a council person, a president. If somebody say, get in this car I just stole, you're not going to get in the car because you know that's going to limit your chances of being the president, right? So set goals, plant seeds. And then the recognizing yourself, what that means is figure out what makes you tick. So if you know, for instance, real easy, if you know standing in front of a judge kind of makes you uncomfortable and a little nervous, because I bet when you walk out of there, you're going to be like, I knew this, I knew that. I felt on the spot.
No, I ain't nervous.
Well, cool. Whatever it is, you got to figure out what it is about you that makes you tick, right? So let's go back to that other situation. If somebody says something that you know pisses you off, then you got to figure out, okay, how am I deal with it when that happens and I don't want to lose control? So if a police officer pulls me over and they call me out of my name, how am I going to deal with that so I survive that police stop, go file a complaint, get me a good lawyer and sue them, as opposed to being a person on Instagram getting dragged around because I dogged out the police and I started fighting with them. So when I talk about self-realization, it's just figuring out what is it that makes you tick so that you don't get in trouble or so that you can be your best self. All right. So that's all I wanted for you when I did all this. So case is dismissed. Be blessed. Go forward and take care of yourself. All right. Go ahead. What's your question?
Can I file a motion to get my gun back?
If you want your gun back, what you're gonna have to do, there's a motion that you'll have to file, and there's gonna be this. I don't like to call it a worksheet, but there's this package that I would have you complete. You would then turn it back into me, and then I would look at the motion and most likely approve it based on that. All right. So file the motion. Make sure all your identifiers are on there. Your name, you know, your the actual weapon, your telephone number, email address, so I can get in touch with you. And then I'm gonna send you this information. You take care of it, send it back, and then we'll go from there. Okay. The motion, the bailiff right behind you will show you where the motion is. All right. Take care, sir. All right. So court is adjourned. However, so Mr. Humphrey, I want to say this because I know Mr. Humphrey is a very astute attorney and gun supporter. He gonna have to do a lot more for me because if he can't answer 3 questions, I gotta make, you know what I mean? Like that's the type of situation where you have to have a little bit more responsibility when you run around here with a weapon.
That's how we got here, because that was what the uncle was concerned about, him taking some responsibility for what happened.
And you
But
are
we'll work with him.
absolutely right about what makes you tick and what ticks you off. You know what? The emergency that came up involved my great grandson, 3 years old, and I'm here and that's there, and I just kind of like, you know, I ain't it.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look like this. I'm straight up street, you know. But I knew one thing. I was still too hyped because of the nature of what was going on. And it was I was so personal.
Right.
I had to sit there.
Yeah.
I had to, and Jackie
That's
said,
that's exactly what
Yeah.
you did. You
Yeah.
knew what you could do and what you had to do
I
to
had
get yourself together.
because I said, well, I can just ask Reese what happened. What happened.
That's right. That's right.
I
That's
had
right.
to chill. I had to sit back.
That's right.
But then I finally calmed down, you know. I said, okay, let's go. But I came out without my coat on. I didn't care. I needed some rain to cool me
There you
down.
go. There you go.
Have a blessing.
Mr. Humphrey, waiting to speak.
Because I be ready to kill a rock and drown a drop of water about mine. I'm not kidding.
I heard that. Go ahead. Right, because that's going to be on the end of that thing. So you're right, because you know, what I mean, you can recognize that.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't even. I mean, God bless him. He's a young man, but he, you know, if you can't even articulate,
It's like he
Positive.
read them off the top of the sheets and was like, but he can't explain
yeah,
what
and
he-
because of that,
Right.
I don't trust you right now with a gun.
Well, it's, you know, if I hand you a gun and a box of ammo and you can't tell me how you properly transport that, you're gonna be back down here. in a couple
Exactly,
months.
exactly. So that's going to be on that.
Had one
Thank
today,
you.
and he's like, well,
I
I mean,
see him.
Okay, I was
Take care.
trying to find the
Oh, the one that
found
didn't
it,
have
didn't-
the.
Now, granted, he had marijuana on the scale, so there was some other issues going on. But he had the gun in the bag and took the clip out. The gun was unloaded. But I'm like, if you can pick the clip up with this hand and the gun up with this hand, that's a readily operable firearm.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be loaded.
And he didn't realize that.
He was like, I don't know.
Right.
But he took the class. He got the.
We'll keep working with our people. We'll
But they
keep
gave
working
him a
with them. I
break
love
and
it.
they
I
kept
wish
it
you
as a
had been one of my
misdemeanor.
professors at BW, because I'd have been up so high on that dean's list, it'd have been crazy.
Right, with
You should have
that,
been one of my
how
professors
easy
at
that was.
BW, Yes.
Look, professor, like, okay, I'm gonna work with you. I'm gonna feed you the
Yeah.
answers.
Come on, Miss Ivory. When did the 3 ships come over?
Right,
here?
come on, give it to me now. Come on, come
He
on.
said, come on. I'm gonna tell
14.
you, it was a 14, and the other number was between 8 and 10.
I was almost
Between
ready to
8 and 10.
have a minute. He could have just run off the wall.
Really? He could have just read off the wall. Look, he could have read the sign right there.
She leaned over, she's like, this kid should just look around the room.
What about the black sign right there? I mean, stuff all over this room that you can read. That's terrible.
Judge, I would say that you could make them get a concealed carry permit, but that might not ultimately be,
Okay.
differing opinion. I would say have them get a concealed carry permit. The issue right now is that it's taken 7-8 months to even
I see.
get it and
Right.
get it. And you may not want, people different opinion whether they want young men walking around with guns legally. Sometimes
Right.
people feel emboldened, but at a minimum, making them take the certificate. I see more young men here that have taken the certificate and not gone and gotten their concealed carry permit. But I think there's some value to taking the class.
Absolutely.
Because they do tell you about transportation. You do learn about the seriousness of a firearm. They do make you do range time. So
Yeah.
at least
The last one we had, he actually did everything right. He just hadn't had that permit. He told the officers that he had the gun. He did everything the way he was supposed to do it. Just didn't have that permit yet. He had took the class.
And there's some financial incentive. I mean, the classes, they're cheap, but they're not free. So if you want your gun back, you're gonna have to go pay the $70 to $100 to go take the class, and
Show us you really want it.
then they've got some skin in the game.
That's right. Absolutely. That's what I'm gonna do from here on out. Make them take the class at least,
Mhm.
even if they, right. Don't tell. I mean, I tell them to get, because I don't want them carrying again. I
Right.
prefer they don't, but take the class. Yeah. All right. Well, great.